We are the Force. We are Southwest.
An unfortunate wave of injuries in the first weeks of the season have forced the Rangers to change their look, and they've leaned on resilience and the desire to compete. After an offseason of overall, the Rays have a new look too, making additions to the lineup and calling on new faces in their pitching staff. This week, the heat is on for both teams in St. Pete. Well, the Rangers continue their road trip from one juice box to the next as we arrive in St. Petersburg tonight. Opening game of the series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Welcome into Tropicana this time around, folks. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. Rangers getting set to see the Rays for the first time this year, but coming off a night last night, Bartolo Colon was masterful. A win over the Astros and a little extra lift in the step today.
I'll tell you what, it was pretty amazing to watch Bartolo last night. That great two-seam fastball, the location, the lack of hits, and as deep as he went in that game against Justin Verlander. It was a lot of fun to watch him at least go for it, chase some history, but more importantly, as you mentioned, the win for the Rangers in Houston, taking that series was big.
Yeah, so a series victory, but there were also a couple of other trends that emerged in those 3 days that are very positive going forward.
Yeah, some really good things happening here for the Texas Rangers. And of course, when we think about what's going on with the Rangers, we always talk about the offense, and we know that this is a high-powered offense. Now, it got off to a little bit of a slow start, but over the last 3 games for these Texas Rangers, 7 home runs, driving the ball out of the ballpark, and then also the bullpen. We know this was an issue a year ago, but look what they did over their last 3 games. 9 1/3, 0 earned runs, nothing out of the ballpark, 10 strikeouts over that time as well. But big outs in big spots is what you really saw from the Rangers bullpen in Houston.
That was a lot of fun. 2 wins over the former world champs, and now the Rangers in town here to face the Tampa Bay Rays, a team in a real scuffle at 3-12, and a team you hardly recognize from last year.
It's a little bit of a different look, and you do get that here pretty often in Tampa as far as that roster. Turning it over is part of what they do here with the Rays, and you take a look at the new addition. C.J. Cron came over from the Angels, of course. Everyone knows where Carlos Gomez came from. Denard Span, Joey Wendell, so some new pieces there. And then, of course, you see what left. Alex Cobb via free agency. Corey Dickerson was let go. Evan Longoria, the franchise player, was traded. Some others there as well. And so for a lot of Rays fans, they are getting used to some new players. Now, they kept one around, Kevin Kiermaier, who once again, unfortunately for him, 3rd year in a row where he is now going to be on the DL. He had a thumb injury yesterday. They said 8 to 12 weeks, unfortunately, for a guy that has unbelievable defensive prowess. He is a great defensive center fielder, one of the best in the game. He struggled a little bit offensively, but he will be missed.
And he's a guy you look forward to watching when you come to town. So unfortunately, for everybody's sake, no Kevin Kiermaier in this series, although it might make a competitive advantage for the Rangers. Interesting, too, the Rangers going to send 3 left-handed starters in this series. So who better to break that down than our resident left-hander, CJ. We'll have him in the spotlight when we come back. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Well, there's the lid. We are indoors tonight, ready for the opening game of this 3-game series in St. Petersburg. Time for our Shiner Box Spotlight. When it's about the lefties, it's all lefties, and we bring in CJ.
As it should be, and of course with the Rangers having 4 lefties in their starting rotation, there's a good chance that you're going to get all lefties in a series, and that's what's going to happen here against the Tampa Bay Rays. You just saw, of course, Martin Perez is going tonight. Matt Moore in his return to Tropicana Field tomorrow, and then Cole Hamels on Wednesday. That will be a day game, and we bring that up because you look at what the Rays have done over the last couple of seasons against left-handed pitching. Their .234 batting average is last in Major League Baseball. They also have the most strikeouts against lefties over that time, and it's not any better this year. 186 batting average for the Rays as a club. That's been an issue, and 48 strikeouts for them. So on paper, this looks like a really good matchup for the Rangers starters.
You know who catches a lot of left-handers and who was a hero in yesterday's big win for the Rangers? Robinson Chirinos with John Radigan when we come back.
Florida, where it was unseasonably cool today, windy and in the low 60s. The residents said it felt a lot like winter, but it feels about the same inside Tropicana Field as always tonight. Hey, Robinson Chirinos is here and ready to get back behind the plate after making Rangers team history last night. He was the first player ever to account for 3 or more runs in an extra inning win. It's happened in a loss, but never in a win. He had the home run off Justin Verlander in the 3rd. He had the 2-run double that won the game for the Rangers in the 10th, and he got hit by that pitch in the 6th inning. And as he trotted to first base after being hit by the pitch, he was thinking about the only no-hitter he ever caught. It was in Venezuela, and Marwin Gonzalez made the last out in that game. So he gets to first base, and Marwin Gonzalez says to him, "You're not catching a no-hitter tonight." To which Robbie replied, "Yes, I am, and you are going to make one of the last outs." Now, obviously that didn't happen, but Robbie got the last laugh because the Rangers got the win. He accounted for all the runs, and of course the Rangers now have a winning streak, thanks in part to Robinson Chirinos, guys.
Yeah, thanks in large part to Robinson Chirinos and his great efforts yesterday. That's a great story as we take a look at our Southwest starting lineup tonight for the Rangers. Chu, Profar, Mazzara. Up at the top, Adrian Beltre, Joey Gallo, and Renato Nunez, his first game as a Ranger in left. Chirinos, Kiner Falefa, and Carlos Tocci with the start in center field. Underway, and the first pitch is spoiled foul for a strike.
Well, for Blake Snell, what you will see is a very good left-handed arm. He's got a fastball that he throws 58% of the time, and that fastball will sit around 95, 96 miles an hour. You'll see the changeup, the curveball, and the slider kind of uses all of those secondary pitches about the same.
Lifted out to center field. Back near the wall is Smith. One away. Alex Smith, a center fielder tonight for Tampa Bay.
Let's take a look at the Tampa Bay Rays defense behind Blake Snell this evening. Johnny Field, what a great baseball name. Alex Smith and Carlos Gomez are in the outfield, and in the infield, Matt Duffy, Adeiny Echeverria, Daniel Robertson, C.J. Cron, and Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
So one out, and here is Jurickson Profar, and he shoots one the other way, foul for a strike. Profar comes in with the average right at 200. 8 hits and 44 at bats. Getting time now is the everyday shortstop for the Rangers. Elvis Andrus at the early stages of his rehab. Andrews with the broken elbow last week, 2-1. So this is the first really extended stretch since opening day 2009 that anyone other than Andrews has manned the position. But away, it's 3-1 to Profar.
That's certainly a much different look right now for these Texas Rangers as far as that middle infield looks. And the Jurickson Profar would be getting a lot of time at second base, but then the Rougned Odor injury, which originally started this whole thing, we'll also get the Elvis Andrus injury, and now all of a sudden Jurickson Profar is the starting shortstop for the Rangers.
Profar's hit safely in 3 of the last 4 games, 5 hits in that stretch. The one game in which he did not get a hit, though, that was last night, 0 for 4. The payoff from Snell, and this one hit well out to left field. Field coming in for it, and we'll have to take it on a hop, and Profar is on with the Rangers' first hit of the night.
Good to see Jurickson Profar get that first hit against a lefty this season. He was 0 for 6 coming into tonight, and it's a pretty well located fastball, but a good swing there from Jurickson Profar as he goes out there and gets that ball, hooks it into left field. To see right here.
So Profar does have a stolen base in the early portion of the season here. He is on. Nomar Mazara will step in. The Rays play Mazara very conventionally, and that's not a huge surprise, even though he is a big, strong left-handed hitter. Mazara, as certainly many Rangers fans are aware, adept at using all fields, and of course they want to keep the double play in order on the infield. Late with that one, and the count is 1-1.
I had to do a little bit of a double take. You know, you do your prep and it's early in the season, and so some numbers, you know, a little bit higher than expected with the lower at bats. And writing my stuff down, and I see Nomar Mazara against lefties, 429, which is pretty incredible when you think about, you know, he is a guy that has done okay against lefties to this point in his career, but in 2018 he's off to a pretty good start. Last year he had 228 against lefties, just a 1 home run. There are his splits so far this year. 429 against those lefties, 256 against the righties.
Down the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. But shoots this one out toward right center, drops in, base hit. Profar took an aggressive turn but holds up. Back-to-back singles in the first inning.
The good at-bats against left-handed pitching continue for Nomar Mazara, and it's even more impressive that he did it against Blake Snell, who has allowed just an .077 batting average to left-handed hitters so far this year. See the breaking ball that is down and away and pretty well located, but Nomar does a nice job of staying in the middle, not trying to do too much. He takes a big swing there, and he's probably going to find himself in a little bit of trouble. And watch Jurickson profile. Yeah, he remembers that arm of Carlos Gomez. He's got to hang back and play a little bit more conservative.
So a good start to this inning. And now Adrian Beltre. 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk. Beltre still checks in at 283. Got his first home run of that series in Houston. 5 doubles. And though the average, which is still a smidge under 300, may not jump off the page at you, Adrian is hit safely in 7 of the last 9 games at a 353 clip. So the average on the ascent at the moment. Two and one the count.
Changeup right there from Blake at 88 miles per hour. Almost look like a fastball. This guy's got a good arm.
Snell 6'4", 200 pounds, just 25 years old. Now when you think of the positive signs for the Tampa Bay Rays going forward, he would certainly be near the top of the list. Kevin Kiermaier on the disabled list as of today. One of the others, their dazzling center fielder. Profar and Mazzara off their bases. The 3-1. A swing and a miss. Field still at that double play depth. Beltre swings and misses that, strike 3, so 2 gone here with the first inning. All right, how about our Kubota power stats on Snell? You were talking about his arm, what you've seen so far.
You see so far what he has done with that 4-seam velocity for left-handed pitchers, averaging 94.7. We have seen a lot of 95s and 96s already. That is among left-handed pitchers. James Paxton with the Seattle Mariners right at the top of that list. Steven Matz, of course, with the New York Mets. He is healthy and been throwing the ball pretty well so far this season. I think what's interesting there too is we usually will see Martin Perez in that group, and he has been in that group over the last couple of years. Now he has only made 2 starts. Of course, he was dealing with the non-throwing arm injury to his right elbow, so his fastball's been down. Nothing alarming, but 1.5, 2 miles an hour so far this season. So that's why we did not see him on that list.
Well, he coaxes Gallo into a couple of big swings to start this at bat. The count 0-2. So Snell gave up a couple of 1-out singles, but has one more good pitch from getting out of this first inning with no real damage done. Snell, a former first rounder back in 2011. From the stretch. And a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Blake Snell to work out of the jam. The Rangers leave a couple, and the Rays coming to bat. And you can see bundled up in the flip-flops and shorts, headed indoors for this one. Rangers and Rays, bottom of the first inning. No score here early on. Tampa Bay Rays, 3 wins, 12 losses. Let's look at their lineup. Matt Duffy, who has struggled against lefties. He leads it off at third. Echeverria at short, Carlos Gomez in right, C.J. Cron, the first baseman. Then it's catcher Wilson Ramos, Daniel Robertson, Rob Refsnyder, Johnny Field, and Malix Smith in center field.
He's having a really good offensive year. You saw that batting average at 350, but batting ninth in this Rays lineup.
So Martin Perez, the 3rd time this season, toes the rubber and gets us started. And this one is lined into right field, a base hit. So Duffy didn't waste any time, jumped right on it.
No, certainly did not. Let's take a look at the arsenal here for Martin Perez. Lots of fastballs, 66% of the time, and a pitch that has been around 92 miles an hour this year. The changeup, which you will need a lot tonight, just one left-handed hitter in there. And the curveball, 13% is the usage there. The slider, once in a while, 4% for Martin Perez. But it is predominantly two-seam fastballs. 54% of his pitches are the two-seam fastball. Another 12 on the four-seamer.
So now Danny Echeverria, shortstop, but wait, he's hacking at the first pitch. Sends a souvenir to the fans just to our right. And he approves.
He seems impressed with the play.
Yeah, it was a good play. Fan right in the front row. Slow start offensively for Echeverria. Not that you would necessarily expect a lot from him offensively. Echeverria has been a tremendous defensive addition for this team at shortstop. Got him in the middle of the summer last year to help Tim Beckham. This one lifted high in the air, shallow right field. Out for it though is Kiner Falefa, and he'll make the play, one away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Well, there is Nunez, a new Ranger in left field. Carlos Tocci is in center, and Nomar Mazara in right here tonight at the Trop. Adrian Beltre at third, Jurickson Profar at short, Isaiah Kiner Falefa at second, Joey Gallo back at first base, and Robinson Chirinos after the big night last night in Houston, back behind the plate here in Tampa.
So Perez now to face his former teammate. Runner goes from first, pitch is thrown high, throw down to second, not in time. Duffy with his 2nd stolen base of the year, and he's now in scoring position.
Now you saw Robinson Chirinos taking a peek at Duffy before this pitch was ever thrown. You can see him leaning there, and he decided he was going first move. We talk about that a lot with lefties. When you have a left-handed pitcher, you can either try to read the move or you can just take off as soon as he picks up his leg. And if that pitcher happens to throw over, well, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. And you see the reaction from Robinson Chirinos. It was a good throw for him, but that is the 10th stolen base against Robinson. Base stealers now 10 for 10 against him so far this year.
The Rangers have yet to throw out a would-be base stealer. So Duffy in scoring position. 1-0 to Carlos Gomez. And he's swinging and sends this one out to left field. But Nunez to his left and puts it away.
Looked like a big swing off the bat a little bit. I mean, it was a big swing. We know Carlos Gomez well, and we know that he never swings easy. He's never shortening up. But what happened was he ended up catching this off the end of the bat. And that's what movement with your fastball does, right? Carlos Gomez sees that ball at a Martin Perez's hand. He gets a little bit of late movement, and that's how you keep the baseball off the barrel. That is what pitching is about, is finding ways. You don't mind contact, but you got to keep the ball off the barrel. And Martin Perez was able to do that. He knows how aggressive Carlos Gomez is, and he took advantage of it.
So now it's a cleanup man, C.J. Cron, and that one a little bit in. Well, the averages for these Rays hitters, certainly up at the top of the order, are all strikingly low. 216 for Cron. Now 2-0 the count. CJ Cron takes on Martin Perez today by AARP. You see the lifetime numbers. 278 average.
Of course, a lot of at-bats for CJ Cron against Martin Perez, all those years that he spent with the Angels in the same division with the Rangers.
Parts of 4 years with the Angels, and now his first year with the Rays. He takes a strike, 2-1 the count.
That's what he's done over the course of his career. Pretty good number. CJ Cron, kind of an interesting guy in the sense that the Angels were kind of waiting for him maybe to break through a little bit, gave him some opportunities. He was out of options this year, and with the addition of Shohei Ohtani, they just didn't know how they were going to be able to fit him in their lineup. Of course, Ohtani the DH, which means Albert Pujols would go play first. You still have, of course, Luis Valbuena there, and there just wasn't any room for CJ Cron, and so they were able to make a deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, which certainly works out better for Cron. Much more steady playing time here than he would have gotten with the Angels.
2-2, and that one hit on the ground into right field. Base hit. Duffy will stop at third base.
And Matt Duffy wasn't even thinking about trying to score on this ball. Hit pretty hard by CJ Cron. Of course, the turf here is going to allow those baseballs and those base hits to get to outfielders quickly. See Martin Perez trying to go in. That ball leaked over the middle of the plate a little bit more, but you'll see Matt Duffy here with that lead. But he knew he had absolutely no chance. Nomar Mazara has thrown it well so far this year, and Matt Duffy not even aggressive coming around third. They had already decided once that ball was hit, he was not going to try to score.
So that means it'll be up to Wilson Ramos.
Oh, unless
Uh-oh.
he was hurt. Maybe that was the reason.
Boy, it looks like a Duffy walking down the line, and that's weird. You know, that walk from third to the midway point of the foul line to me, CJ says, I know where I'm going. And that's the dugout.
Wow. So I guess it wasn't that he didn't think he was going to score, but that something was actually wrong with Matt Duffy. We don't know what it is. I didn't see him grab anything.
This is when he was stealing second base. Let's take a look here.
Slide in, watch that front
on
foot.
That front right foot, maybe caught or cleat initially and rolled the ankle or tweaked it a little.
See the reaction there. We'll see. That's going to be it for Matt Duffy.
So Wendell takes over as the pinch runner here.
Thought you were going to have a day off, and instead you're thrust into the game in the first inning.
Up and away to Wilson Ramos.
Let's watch the right ankle. You see a little bit there. You never know. It's so interesting to watch these athletes in slow motion and the things that their body can do and what hurts and what doesn't. But watching that, the right ankle might have been a little bit of an issue. We'll find out soon enough.
Ramos shoots it into right field. Base hit. Third of the inning for Tampa Bay, and they strike first tonight. 1-0.
The Rays have come out swinging and have been aggressive against Martin Perez. And on this 1-0 pitch, Martin goes away. And not a terrible pitch, really, for Wilson Ramos. Just a really smart approach. He had the right side of the infield open with Joey Gallo holding CJ Cron on. And Wilson Ramos knew he was probably going to get something away from the lefty. And he did a nice job of hitting that ball the other way.
So now 2 base runners aboard for Daniel Robertson. Martin, velocity's been 93, 94-ish with that fastball. He's been able to keep it right there at the bottom of the strike zone, but not always getting the call. And as you see, Tampa Bay, they're looking for opportunities. There was one right there, but Robertson watches a strike. Florida's not wasting a lot of time. And a bouncing ball shortstop. Profar is there. He'll go the short way to force out Ramos, and the inning is done. But Tampa Bay gets first run of the ball game on 3 hits. And we'll go to the second inning.
Newest player to the plate, that's Renato Nunez, who was acquired just yesterday in the lineup and in left field today. He came into the clubhouse today renewing old acquaintances with the likes of Carlos Tocci and Nomar Mazara, with whom he played in winter ball. And he did renew acquaintances, or will, with Rougned Odor. They played together on a junior team in Venezuela in '15, and Renato says he remembers when the team went all the way to Taiwan. That's what a stout team that was. And he also said to us, I'm so excited to meet Adrian Beltre. He'd never done that. And as soon as he finished the interview, he turned around and went over and gave Adrian a big congratulatory and introductory hello. He wasn't at all shy about going over there to say hi to the future Hall of Famer, guys.
And he was in quite an upbeat mood, very excited to be in the clubhouse, excited to, as you say, John, to renew acquaintances with guys, meet Adrian. Just tickled pink to be here. It's the 2-strike pitch upstairs, 1-2.
Well, opportunity is what is difficult to come by at the big league level, and for Nunez, not only to come over and see some old friends and make some new ones, but more importantly, you're in the starting lineup. There is a chance, at least based on what Jeff Bannister said, against left-handed pitching, to get big league at bats and get big league playing time. And nothing's going to put you in a better mood than knowing that's something that you have been given or you've earned. I mean, he's done a really nice job getting healthy.
Well, he represents something the Rangers do not have a lot of right now, and that is right-handed power. He can swing it aggressively as he takes one low. 2-2. There's so much of the talent in the Rangers order has been from the left side. He provides just a little bit of balance in that way.
Well, he crushed it last year in AAA. 967 OPS against left-handed pitching. He did have 32 home runs. 25 of those came against righties, but he swung it well against the lefties, and that's why he's in this lineup. That's the opportunity that he is going to get. And you're right. So right-handed thump will certainly be welcomed here. And so for Nunez, it's his shot. Kind of his job to lose right now, and that's why you're in a good mood. You love those opportunities.
Well, he is a guy who, in the Oakland A's system, was always one with, or regarded with, a lot of major league upside, but they were just kind of out of room. And it was one of those things where they had no interest in losing him. They just had to take him off the roster and exposed him to waivers, and the Rangers jumped on it. Great opportunity for this organization. 3-2 pitch. And he hits his ball hard down to third base. Diving stop, Robertson. What a play. Gets Nunez for the first out of the second inning. Robertson, who had just moved over to third this half inning after the injury to Duffy.
Well, that's not exactly how Nunez had hoped this would go, especially off the bat. He's thinking base hit, but that's a very nice play on the short hop by Robertson. You watch it right here, one hop, dive, and catch. That's a fantastic play. And even Nunez, watch him here as he crosses. You'll see him, he takes a look over to third base as if to say, did you just make that play? No way you're going to ruin my first at bat with the Texas Rangers.
Saw Joey Wendell right there, who was taken over at second base. Yeah, there you go. Robertson had been at second, but when Duffy got hurt, he has slipped in at third base now.
We're talking about the changes for the Tampa Bay Rays in our open a little bit. Who's left, who's new, and you look at the Rays, and of course you know they're a low payroll team, and player development is really important. And when those stars start to make a little bit too much money, eventually they'll move on from those guys.
Trinos lifts this one down the right field line. Long run for Carlos Gomez. He gets there. 2 away.
I thought this was interesting. If you look at their current group of position players, only one is homegrown. You would think it would be higher than that. Now 6 of their pitchers are homegrown, which means originally they started with the Tampa Bay Rays and haven't left the organization. Of course, Carlos Gomez. You look around, and it is a pretty interesting roster. Only Johnny Field is an original Tampa Bay Ray. Everyone else has been traded for, signed as a free agent, maybe claimed off waivers.
Well, the first pitch strike to Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Now in his 6th game with the Rangers. Big swing and a miss. Not sure I've noticed that big leg kick before. See that? Lifted that front leg way up. Snell's 0-2. So Snell gave up a couple of singles in the first inning. In fact, back-to-back singles. But then struck out Beltre and Gallo in order to get out of the jam. Now 2 quick outs to start the second.
This is Isaiah's first at-bat against the lefty so far here in the big leagues. And you can see 96, 97 mile-an-hour fireballer with a good breaking ball right there.
Oh, and he knew it. Strikes out looking to complete a 1-2-3 for Snell. We've played an inning and a half. Rays on top early.
Rays leading the Rangers last night in Houston. This was one for the ages. A couple of older guys getting after, what, 79 years old between the two of them. But it was a great game. Unbelievable. Bartolo Colon, 7 2/3, just a 1 hit allowed. Justin Verlander, his 1 hit allowed over his 8 innings, and these guys were going after it. A couple of veterans, and as much as this game gets younger, don't forget about the old guys. They can still get it done. That was a lot of fun to watch. Of course, Bartolo perfect through 7 innings, and everyone wondering if history could be made. That would have been the oldest pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter or a perfect game. No-hitter and perfect game, right? Both of those. Because Randy Johnson, I think, was the oldest at 40.
Right. So either way,
yeah,
you know, it would have been.
And
I mean, look.
Nolan Ryan's got the oldest perfect no-hitter, correct? And Randy Johnson has the oldest perfect game. I was at that game, believe it or not.
You were.
Sitting in the bullpen. I was a member of the Atlanta Braves. And I always say this about that game. I've been fortunate to kind of watch a few good ones. We'll take a look at now Bartolo Colon. He's painting fastballs, two-seam fastballs away. And you'll see it there. And that's what's so unique. And some people say, well, just learn to throw that two-seam fastball. That is not easy and automatic by any means. You see the walk, of course, and there with the perfect game. And then Josh Reddick, unfortunately, spoils the no-hitter. But what a night for Bartolo Colon. A lot of fun to watch, everyone pulling for him. But what I was going to say with that Randy Johnson perfect game, which was interesting. A lot of times, like I've been at 3 of the 20 strikeout games as a member of the other team, Kerry Wood or excuse me, 2 of them, Kerry Wood and then Roger Clemens both did it against us. But a lot of times when you're in that spot, you're like, all right, yeah, I want to see it. Let's see it. I want to see it. All right, yeah, I know it's going against our team, but let's see some history. This was not one of those times. When Randy Johnson was dealing, when I was on the Braves, we were scuffling bad, and you didn't want to see it. He's just mowing through the lineup like it's nothing at 40 years old, and you know, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, now I say fortunately, but at the time it felt unfortunate that he went 27 up and 27 down at Turner Field in 2004.
Any particular moment stand out from a game like that?
Not really. You know, it's not like Mark Burley, right? And the Dwayne Wise catch. Right. Remember that catch he made at center field? You know, like those. Nothing that stuck out because again, I wasn't like watching it like, oh, what's going to happen? Let's hope they get it. You know what I mean? It was more like fall down, drop, you know, something, walk a guy, hit a batter. But the offense was really struggling at the time, and he really did take advantage of it.
Because like last night, there were a couple of moments that would have stood out, but one of them was defensively the play made by Ronald Guzman in the 5th inning to really save Profar from a bad throw and a potential error.
He had a funny interview today. He was on, I think it was SiriusXM's Fantasy Channel, but I caught it on social media and talking about, first, how exciting it is to be able to play with Bartolo Colon, obviously younger player, older player, all of that. But then also, he actually said, he's like, I was getting pretty nervous late in the game and kind of thinking, please don't hit the ball to me. And laughing about it and having some good fun. And I get it, right? You're a rookie. You're watching what's going on. One of the greatest ever come out of the Dominican Republic, chasing, of course, Juan Marichal and his record wins. What's he? Is he 3 away? Is that right? I believe he's 3 away.
Yeah, I believe he's still 3 away.
You know, so you got that whole thing going and chasing history with the potential perfect game with no hitter. Listen, I get it. I can appreciate the honesty. You want to see it. Maybe let somebody else get those outs.
Well, a walk to Refsnyder to open the inning. And now 2-2 to Johnny Field, 8th place hitter. He takes outside. It's a full count. There's a bit of an oddity with regard to this Rays lineup. You look at this lineup, when I was putting in the numbers today, I thought it was interesting. Geez, Refsnyder, Field, Malik Smith, their on base percentages are really good. And you look as a group, there's 7, 8, 9 hitters have the 2nd highest on base percentage in Major League Baseball. And 7 and 8 have just drawn walks to start this second.
You'll take it. I mentioned as we started this game that Malik Smith has had a really nice offensive year, and you see his batting average coming in at 350, and it kind of jumps off the page a little bit, especially when the rest of this lineup is not necessarily racking up the hits. And so you love getting production from the bottom of your lineup. We've talked about that with the Rangers, and at times how it's been a little bit of an issue. But at least he can get on base. Like find a way, whether it's drawing walks, whatever it takes, to find a way to get on base. You give yourself a chance as you're turning your lineup over. And the Rays they've struggled, but they've done a good job, at least in that regard.
Exactly. And it can be such a critical part of a really good offensive attack what's so weird is to see a team do it this well and then not be a good offensive attack. I mean, they've done one of the harder parts, which is get that production from those bottom 3 hitters. But they have really struggled up top. Now here's Malik Smith, 9th place hitter tonight. And he's getting on base at a 409 clip. I mean, his other numbers are good as well. But getting on base better than 40% of the time. And he's showing bunt, bunts it back to Martin Perez, and he bobbles it. So everybody is safe. Smith is brilliantly fast. So that's a tough play regardless.
It certainly is. And what he does, even though it wasn't his best bunt, he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and I think that's exactly what happened with Martin Perez. After the 2 walks, he lays down the bunt, and you see Smith just busting it out of the box. That first step was pretty long, but watch Martin here, and it's on the exchange. And that happens because you know you have to be quick. Right? You just have to. And you see a little bit, too, as he went to go pick up that ball, how far away his hand was from the glove. So there's a lot of little, some room to travel as opposed to maybe bringing that hand a little bit closer. And unfortunately, that exchange cost him a little bit.
So a bunt single for Malik Smith. Bases are loaded, nobody out, and here is Duffy. Duffy, you'll recall in the first inning, had the base hit to right field, and eventually, sorry, not Duffy, Joey Wendell. Duffy had the single, stole second, got to third, and then was lifted for Wendell as a pinch runner because Duffy came up lame at third base. We don't know yet what the injury was, but he's hurt. Wendell sends this one down the left field line and into foul ground, and boy, in and out of Nunez's glove. And that might not be the worst thing to let that drop foul. I don't know, where do you come down on that?
That's a tough one. It's early, so I'll take the out. You know, giving the top of the lineup, even though of course Wendell is in as a substitution, I'd rather have the out here. So there certainly was no intent, but I think for Nunez, he was thinking about that short wall, which I don't love those short walls. He's also battling the roof here in Tampa, and even though there's no sun, if you're not playing here very often, one of the biggest mistakes you could make is looking up at a ball and then thinking you could run to your spot and find it again. Balls get lost pretty often in this ceiling, and so I would much rather he had made that catch, and he certainly didn't let it go on purpose. He was just more battling the wall in that spot. Later in the game, tie game, you know, there's a situation where you're going to give up the lead. Certainly in the 9th inning, you'd never do it.
Wendell's 1 for his last 14 at the plate. Pulls this one foul for strike 2. It's interesting that Joey Wendell wasn't in the lineup today. As we mentioned, has to come on because of the injury. And one of the few for the Rays who, even though it's very, very limited in terms of numbers, he's 3 for 6 against lefties. One-two, and a bouncer back up the middle. That one taken by Profar. Throw to first, and it's in and out of the glove of Joey Gallo. Heading to the plate is Johnny Field. 2-run score. And now we'll look at the slide at second base. That doesn't look good.
Well, first of all, it looks like there was obviously some contact there, and Jurickson Profar is down, and you wonder if that caused the bad throw, and Profar is grabbing his head. Now remember, he had the contact with Andrelton Simmons at home when the Rangers played the Angels, and the one thing we saw in that spot was that Jurickson kind of stepped in a little bit. There was nothing dirty about that slide when there was contact between him and Simmons, but it was where he stepped, and once we get a chance to look at the replay, we'll get a little bit of a better idea as far as what happened, how the contact was, and what caused it. But Jurickson obviously in some serious pain.
Field scores E6.
So a fielder's choice, and then an error on Profar.
We'll take a look here. Here's the ground ball, and Jurickson fields it, makes that throw, and then the throw took off on him before the contact, but let's see what happened after. Does a good job, hits the bag, everything is good there. It looks like he continued through. Let's see if we can get a look here at Malik Smith and some of the contact. There, now you see how Jurickson's still in front of the bag?
Yeah.
And that's what happened with Anderson Simmons as well. That's the part that's interesting. Now, Malik Smith still has the right to slide in. Of course he's going to slide in. There was nothing dirty about the slide, but it's kind of interesting, to me at least, that he is basically between now second base and first base, knowing there's a runner coming in.
It almost looks like he's trying to get the contact, initiate the contact. I mean, that's interesting. He's, you see shortstops basically make a habit of being around the bag as little as possible. You get the ball, you get away as quickly as possible because of the threat of a slide and the body coming at you. Malik Smith, who's so fast, I guess that would have been, yeah, it was Malik Smith. I'm surprised he was as late as he was getting there as well. It could be one of those things where he was anticipating somebody there and he wasn't there. It's just kind of awkward.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what was going on as far as, I mean, I think with Malik Smith, as far as his arrival, it's just because that ball was hit hard enough he couldn't get there in time, and Jurickson Profar is up. That's certainly a good sign. And Malik Smith, who's a really, really nice guy, good community guy, good big leaguer. Right there just to make sure that Profar is okay and checking in on him. Adrian Beltre talking to Profar and Kevin Harmon and everybody else, and it almost seems as if Jurickson is trying to make a case for wanting to stay in the game.
Right, and yet it's pretty clear that it's their intent to get him off the field. The Rangers, who have been besieged by injury and disabled list stents already, now watching Jurickson Profar walk off the field. Now he's walking off on his own power, although you can see Kevin Harmon holding on to him, and there's a little bit of a lean.
Yeah, I think making sure, obviously, because you think about concussion stuff, of course, something that comes up with the contact.
Well, look at that, 10 players on the disabled list. That's most in baseball. All the games missed, the total disabled list days. Rangers right now way out in front in that regard, and that's not a stat or any of those stats that you would want to be leading baseball. But that is the unfortunate situation Jeff Bannister and his crew find themselves in. And now it looks like Drew Robinson has come on to play at shortstop. So, boy, this is a weird start to this ball game. 3-0, Tampa Bay leading. Both teams have already lost an infielder to injury. So 1 out and 1 man on. And they'll check in on Wendell. Danny Echeverria popped up. 0 for 1. Light hitting shortstop. Average well below the Mendoza line coming into play today. He holds off on that one upstairs. He has 9 hits so far this year, Echeverria. All of them singles. It's 1-1.
A good change up there for Martin Perez, right on the corner. Good movement, good speed differential for him. I mentioned it before this game started. That will be an important pitch for him with all of these righties in the lineup, and this is how he wants to use it. Perfect location.
The 1-1. Bouncer left side. That one is through, a base hit. A single, 10th of the year for Echeverria.
Well, just a well-placed ground ball. His pitch was down with some good movement. Came back over the plate a little bit, but good downward action. And of course, the ground balls are just going to get through a lot quicker here at the Trop with that turf. Without a doubt, a turf hit there. 5th of the night here for the Rays.
So Wendell second, Echeverria at first. Here's Carlos Gomez, who is currently the most aggressive hitter in baseball. He goes after the first pitch with great regularity and lines this one into center field. Around third base, Wendell. He heads to the plate. The throw comes through, and he is safe RBI single for Carlos Gomez. It's 4-0 Tampa Bay.
We've seen a lot of aggressiveness here from the Rays early in the count. And certainly we know Carlos Gomez is one of those guys. We have seen it from him in the past. And he looked like he was sitting on that inside fastball. It's a good swing, and that ball was stung by Gomez. And you see Wendell coming around from second, scoring easily.
So 3 runs are in. And now Crone, who singled last inning. You see right here, the Rays swing at over 32% of first pitches seen, most in the American League. Rangers the most patient. They're fully content to take that first pitch. Spanked foul. And the point I was making with Carlos Gomez was said, you look at the team numbers, 32.5%. Gomez was over 49% of first pitches.
Wow.
He's swinging. And so you got to know that, of course, going in. Don't give him a cookie because he's going after it.
You need to know it, and then you need to have the game plan of executing. And that's living on the edges early on, even though you don't want to fall behind in the count. That is a good way to counteract aggressive swingers early, especially when you're talking about so many of those righties for Martin Perez. And that means a good two-seam fastball away, a good changeup away. That's what he's been trying to do. He's thrown some good ones tonight. Just unfortunately, when they have come out hacking, they've been able to square him up here a little bit.
Foul down the third base side. Stays 1-2 on Crone. Well, he's been splitting his duties between first base and designated hitter. Majority of his time at first base. His 9th start this year at first. He's also been the DH 5 times. Last year had a career best 16 home runs in his final year with the Angels. He takes strike 3 called. And that is out number 2. Crone will have a word briefly, no doubt, with plate umpire Mike Estabrook. 2 away.
This is well located, and we talk about execution and how important it is, especially for a guy like C.J. Crone, who has hit Martin Perez pretty well, and that is absolutely a strike up and in. Perfect location. They knew they could go there with 2 strikes, and they did. And Crone, after fouling a couple of pitches off, he was upset about it, but that's a strike. He's got no chance of getting to it.
So Martin Perez's first strikeout of the night. Now Wilson Ramos, who swings at the first pitch and bounces this one into center field. That's a base hit. Here comes Echeverria. He'll score without a throw. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Certainly some frustration here for Martin Perez as Wilson Ramos looks for something early, gets it early, hits it on the ground, which Martin wants, but right back up the middle. You see Echeverria coming around third and scoring easily.
So the inning continues, and Jesse Chavez begins to warm in the Rangers bullpen. This is Daniel Robertson. He is the 9th hitter of the inning. And he takes strike 1. Robertson was the final out last inning. Perez would love to see him be the final out of this inning as well. Not real sure where that one missed. 1-1. This the occasional borderline pitch, but that didn't look that borderline to me. More like center of the plate, a few inches above the bottom of the zone. There's a strike, 1-2.
And a good fastball from Martin Perez at 93 miles an hour. And the stuff looks good. It's been interesting to watch Martin over these 3 starts, down 2+ starts. He's in the middle of his 3rd one. See the life at the end of that pitch at 93. And it's a good pitch from Martin. You're sitting here and you look and you watch, okay, 3 starts in. It's been a lot of base hits so far. 19 hits in his first 2 starts, a .463 batting average against. Another 7 here tonight in an inning and 2/3. And you're not worried about repertoire or strength or anything. I mean, all of that looks good. He looked really good at the end of spring. It's kind of interesting to see hitters be successful as they have been against him so far this season.
Two. A little tap around in front of the plate, and that is a foul ball, which is good because it broke up the wrestling match. It's about to ensue. Great job by Estabrook to make that call an emphatic one.
Let's take a look here at this foul ball. Straight down, goes up. You see Robinson trying to grab it and keep it fair, and then also trying to tag Robertson at the same time. It's a heck of an effort by Robinson Chirinos.
Forward progress was stopped, I think, there. The 2-2 again. A little bit low. Well, the inning started with a couple of walks. Both of them came in to score. Since then, 4 additional hits. Jurickson Profar left the game with an apparent injury. A wild second inning. 5-0 Tampa Bay, and the 3-2 runners go, and that one is high ball 4. 3rd walk of the inning, and the Rays have batted around. Jeff Bannister starting to pace a little bit in that dugout. Southwest Airlines bullpen live look. Chavez had been throwing for a few minutes. Appears he's done all he needs in case called upon here. Rob Refsnyder now, the 7th place hitter who started this inning with a walk, swings at the first pitch, sends this one out to left center field. Tochi closing on it and makes the catch to win the inning. You do love his speed out there in center field. Inning done, but 4 more for the Rays.
Board game summary, and just kind of an unusual start to this game. First, it was Matt Duffy on the slide there, appeared to hurt his ankle. He stayed in, but when he tried to run the bases, he ultimately realized he had to come out. And then Jurickson Profar on what looked like was going to be a double play. And the more you watch this, the more you start to realize Jurickson Profar didn't really get out of the way, didn't jump like you see those middle infielders do so often, and he had to be removed from the game. And luckily, we get to see him walking out because he did look pretty shaken up at the time. And as soon as we find out exactly what's going on, we'll certainly get it to you. But a couple of injuries here early on for each club.
Carlos Tocci starting things off here in the third inning. Ninth place hitter Blake Snell now working with a 5-run lead. Tries to get him off the plate, but he wouldn't take the bait. 1-1 the count. Slow start offensively for Tocci. 1 hit in 13 at bats so far. But indication today from Jeff Bannister that we may see Tocci get some regular playing time in center field for these next handful of days. Of course, that seems now even all the more probable with Profar ostensibly out, depending on the severity of whatever the injury was with him tonight. Tocci lifts this one high in the air, short right field. Gomez again hustling to get to the spot. On the way.
No, you're right, and I think what was interesting about that is Banny understands this. He understands he can't do it all the time, but they haven't seen Carlos Tocci play back-to-back days with any kind of regularity, and they want to give him that opportunity. Drew Robinson was starting to fill in at center field for Delano DeShields and struggling a little bit offensively, and so they thought that they would give Tocci an opportunity, and it certainly does sound like we're going to see him. But as you mentioned, Drew Robinson, maybe a new opportunity for him that he wasn't necessarily anticipating, and this has been such a strange start to the season. Who is starting where based on injuries, but Robinson might find himself in the infield. We'll see ultimately what the diagnosis is on Profar.
1 out, and Chu, the DH tonight, takes one low. It's 1-1. So we get word that Matt Duffy, right hamstring tightness, day to day. So it doesn't sound like it's a real serious issue, but one that caused him to leave the game. Little chopper down to first, and Chu is retired, 2 away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Dana Larson. Yeah, amazing. And I heard something about this yesterday. Maybe some ice from the CN Tower just across the street. That very tall structure.
So not even dome stadiums are safe for what is going on around Major League Baseball with this crazy weather. Now I feel pretty good about where we are right now here in the Trop, and we'll get this game in.
Don't think we'll have any ice issues anyway.
The ice. We'll see. Make no assumptions at this point.
No kidding. Drew Robinson's first at bat of the night came in to replace Profar after the injury, and he fouls this one back. Robinson came in at shortstop. A straight switch for Profar. 7th time in his big league career that he has played shortstop. It appeared there 43 times in the minor leagues. And so that's something like we were just talking about, the opportunity that he may be getting now on the middle of the diamond. He's probably more likely, you would think, based on past experience, to get time at second base. Kiner Falefa's played a little more shortstop in his career. Swing and a miss, and Robinson goes down to complete a 1-2-3 for Blake Snell. 2.5 in, it's 5-0 Reds. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer today. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Maybe between that and the music, what are you picturing in your hand? See if it's the same or not. See if we're as compatible as I think we are.
Well, I have a beer in my hand.
Well, a little more specifically.
Oh. Like what kind of beer?
Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that.
It'd just be cold, I guess.
That's probably a good call. Mine would have a lime in it.
Perez back to work here in the third inning. You're kind of a fruity beer guy. Johnny Field walked last inning and fouls this one straight back.
So you would assume born to play baseball with that name. Has to be, right? This was even as interesting, not more interesting, but as interesting to me. I was in the press room today, printing up my scorecards, getting ready for the game to get going, and I was talking to one of the interns, and he had a list of their fantasy baseball league in the press room, and one of the guys' last names was Infield.
Come on.
Yeah.
Infield.
That's his last name.
This a real thing?
Yeah, it wasn't like a fake, like that's the name of his team, like he's John Infield, and that was the name of his fantasy team. I asked him, I said, is that his real last name? He said, yeah.
What does he play for?
So they have an infield working for them and a field playing for them.
No, one away as Field goes down looking. Second strikeout for Martin Perez.
So hey, check this out. This is something that really rarely gets called in Major League Baseball. Watch Alex Smith and his back foot. Probably out of the box.
Yeah.
Which is illegal. It's not reviewable, which is a little frustrating because you feel like it should be, but it is not. And so the umpires have to catch that on their own. And it's a difficult thing to do. You think about all the different things that umpires are looking for in those situations. And, you know, the third base umpire doesn't have the greatest look. It's pretty far away in that spot. But Alex Smith, and you're taught to do that, you know, not go all the way out, but certainly want to come in that way a little bit. And you get that back foot ready to run close to the plate as you're bunting. And he should have been called out, and everybody should have had to go back, but it didn't work out that way. That was a missed call.
Yeah, it ended up being a bunt single for Smith. A big play in that inning. Well, that one just missed the outside corner. 1-2. Mallex, M-A-L-L-E-X. Pretty sure the only Mallex I know.
And you don't even really know him.
Good point. Down the left field line, and Smith with another hit. Nunez takes the carom. It'll be a double for Mallex Smith. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
We saw that Martin was a little bit frustrated earlier with the pitch not being called to strike. And here's the fourth pitch, and he was trying to go up and in. And when he throws that four-seam fastball, he's got a little bit of extra cut to it. That one came back over the middle more than he wanted it, more than expected. And Smith did a nice job of staying inside and hitting that ball the other way. And did you catch that from Adrian right there? The fake glove throw at that ball? He took his glove off his hand as if he was going to throw it at that baseball.
He's going to do that a couple times a week. Of course, would never do it. He's too smart for that, because that is one of the very rare and extremely, I guess, looked down upon maneuvers that a player can make. That's a 3-base dead ball error.
Yep. Have you ever seen it?
I've seen
at the professional level.
I've seen.
I know you've done it.
Well, I've seen an attempt at the professional level to throw the glove at the ball.
Really?
But it was a miss.
Okay.
And it was the low minor league levels. And he never did it again, as far as I know.
But that always brings up the question. I'm pretty sure I asked you this last year when we talked about it. Can you throw your glove at home runs? No-brainer home runs? What if you hit it and knock the ball down?
I do kind of think that's a no-brainer. Chopper, second base. Good charge. Little toss by Kiner Falefa. 2 away. Smith gets to third. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, but here's the thing. If it hits the glove...
Three-base error.
Right, unless it continues over the fence or takes the glove with it.
Well, then, of course, yeah. Then you're out of the glove.
And who really cares, right?
Yeah.
Because it was going over it anyway.
Exactly. You know what? That's a good... it's always fun, dig in some of those kind of obscure things in the rule book and thinking about what would be a good strategy. I'm going to ask
Send that to Chris Welsh?
I'm going to send that to Chris Welsh. Longtime Reds broadcaster. He has a website called Baseball Rules Academy. He loves the rules of the game, which is pretty good passion to have if you're going to be a broadcaster, because he wouldn't be wasting the time we're wasting right now having this conversation. He would know the answer right away.
Well, would he? I mean, I don't know.
And I think it's probably umpire's judgment.
Oh, bouncer off of Robinson's glove and out into center field. And Echeverria reaches on the E6. Smith scores 6-0 Tampa Bay.
Drew Robinson has been playing outfield for the most part this season, and he gets the draw at shortstop after the injury to Jurickson Profar, and he gets a hard hit ball on turf. That ball jumped on him pretty quickly, and you see the reaction from Drew Robinson. Some frustration for him right now as he's going through a little bit of a tough time. Certainly would have been a ground ball that would have ended the inning.
Second Rangers error tonight. And Echeverria aboard. Carlos Gomez, who singled in a run last inning, steps in. Perez offers, and so does Gomez. And this pop-up will be handled by the second baseman, Kiner Falefa. Inning is done. The Rays pick up an unearned run, and it's 6-0. About a Coca-Cola family pack. It offers savings of over 50% on tickets, food, kids zone access, souvenir programs, and Coke soft drinks. Family pack is an ideal way to catch the Rangers next week against the Oakland A's. Piece of cake, right? Get the little guy. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials and get your Coca-Cola family pack.
It's a good game right there. We've all played it with our kids. Fingers to the lips. It's fun. Never gets old.
The good news is the little fellow will be able to do that himself here in another couple of days, maybe. Yep.
Does that say small on the shirt? Is that for a small ball? A little old school.
Let's see.
Right? Am I reading? I can see four of the letters. And there's on a baseball. I'm thinking small ball. Fan of small ball. Liked the bunt. Bunt him over, get him in.
Smashed foul out of play by Mazzara. Strike two. Nomar had the base hit in the first inning. Rangers had 2 hits in the first inning, but nothing since. In fact, Blake Snell has retired 8 straight hitters. All right, again, similar spot. Spoils that good fastball. Nomar was 1 for 4 last night. See the season average now at .310 for him. Nomar was out of the lineup on Saturday down in Houston. He had that stiff neck. Swings and misses and strikes out to start the 4th inning. Well, looking ahead for the Rangers, our progressive upcoming schedule. 2 more games here in Tampa tomorrow night and then Wednesday afternoon. Then it's back home Thursday and off day. Mariners in town over the weekend, and then the Oakland A's. So 6-game homestand before leaving the country. Toronto and Cleveland the next roadie. Adrian Beltre now, and he'll take one low for a ball. Give you a chance to get up to Toronto, inspect the building up there. You on that trip?
I am. I will be there. I will not be on the roof inspecting it, though. That is for sure. That is one of the interesting things that they have there and here. It's not open to the public, at least some of that, but the ability to walk around the top of those ballparks around the roof. The catwalks here, of course, which are always an issue and something that will come into play once in a while. I will have no part of that. I will not be up there anytime soon. I mean,
we sent Emily up in the Alamo Dome, right? And she went up there to give us the bird's eye view and a little perspective for what it was like up there.
No chance. And the worst part for me is when you look up at the catwalk, they're not level.
They're not level.
They're like, you know, tilted a little bit. Like if you put a cup of water on there, it's not going to stand there. It's going to run off. Now, I know that the floor is a metal grate and has holes in it, but you know what I'm saying.
Bouncer foul along the third base side. Why would you put a cup of water?
To prove that it wasn't level.
Oh. Why would you just like drop a bowl?
Well, you didn't believe me that it was level. I'm telling you, that's why. And I feel like.
You sure those aren't level?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I feel like it would shake too. I feel like it's not that sturdy.
Beltre swings and misses. Back-to-back strikeouts. In fact, 3 in a row now for Blake Snell. He seems to be settling into a bit of a groove here.
6 strikeouts on the night. For a guy with a plus arm, he came into tonight with a better than 10 per 9 strikeout rate. You've seen the high velocity, good breaking balls as well, and pitch count has been very manageable up to this point. What we haven't seen from Blake Snell, which is usually an issue for him, is the struggle with command. He has not walked a hitter yet tonight, and he came into tonight with a rate of 6 walks per 9. League average is just slightly over 3. So command has been a real issue for him, not just through his first couple of starts this year, but also for him throughout his career. That's one of those things that the Rays are kind of waiting for him to take that next step on, which is more consistent command. Here's what he's done, splitting it up between his previous 11 starts, his last 11.
Gallo got into this one, lifts it high in the air, deep out to center field. Smith looks up, and that one is way gone. Above the batter's eye in center field. Another towering home run for Joey Gallo, his 6th of the season. So the Rangers get on the board. It's 6-1.
Joey Gallo absolutely hammers this baseball. Now, this is a good ballpark to hit home runs in. Take a look at this pitch. And you see it there. Fastball that splits the plate. Snell knew it. Joey Gallo knew it. Malik Smith trying to fake us out a little bit. He knew it. I mean, you see how high that ball drops down from. It's a bomb from Joey Gallo. It never gets old watching him do that. 430 feet estimated right now. And the race is on.
Yeah, home runs take a slightly larger lead over the singles. Now Nunez. Big swing and a miss. It's at 0-2.
Talked about this in the open. These 7 home runs for the Rangers against the Houston Astros. 6 of those were solo home runs. So now 7 of their last 8 home runs have been solo homers.
Chopper at third base. That one just wide of the bag.
So that's the ingredient that's missing. Getting on base a little bit more. Turning some of these home runs into multi-run home runs.
Gallo, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs. 6 home runs now, having tied with Mike Trout for the league lead. Swing and a miss. Nunez chases one of the dirt, and the inning is done. But Gallo gets the Rangers on the board. It's a 6-1 game. Home run. Hey, Rangers and Mariners on this next homestand. And Saturday, 7:05 game, first 15,000 fans 14 and older. Gonna get a Rangers pullover courtesy of Globe Life. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, so bottom of the 4th inning now. Martin Perez will get C.J. Cron to start things off. Cron, then Wilson Ramos and Daniel Robertson. This one lifted out to center field. Tochi with a long run. Back there to the wall, and he reaches up. Did he get it? No, a home run. That one just got over the stripe. Cron's 2nd homer of the year. And it's 7-1 Rays.
And 7th career home run against Martin Perez. We had talked about that. Some of the success that Cron has had. Martin Perez threw a pretty good slider earlier in this at bat. The first pitch, I should say a curveball. This one was a curveball as well. And Tochi looked like he might have had a beat on it. He tried to rob his first big league homer, but he ran out of room.
So 7-1. Rays have scored in every single inning. Little bouncer down to third base. Beltre with plenty of time throws out Ramos, one away.
That's correct. That first home run, 7th RBI. It was 6 RBIs that Cron had against Martin Perez over the course of his career. It's kind of a big difference.
Well, it can be. Can be. Martin has given up some solid contact in this one tonight. 9 hits against him. That has been a little bit of a trend this year. This ball hit high in the air, out to right field, carrying well. Mazara's back leaps, and that one is gone. Robertson with his first home run. 8-1 Rays. Both home runs just enough to get over.
They were. I mentioned this is a good ballpark for home runs. Here's a fastball that's got a little bit of late movement, but that movement brought it to the outer third of the plate. Robertson stays down on the ball, stays through a pitch away, doesn't pull off of it at all.
Now Refsnyder, and he takes strike one. Refsnyder is walked and flied out to center field. 8 runs on 10 hits for Tampa Bay. See Perez working that gum a little bit. Now, we're talking about this today where we're just sitting up here getting ready for the ball game. There's a lot of talk during spring training about the influence of Bartolo Colon on Perez. And it was with some excitement because we saw him having good results in spring training. And he talked a lot about how Bartolo just attacks hitters, uses both sides of the plate well, has confidence in his stuff. And Martin was, trying to take a couple of those lessons himself and go right after hitters. This is foul. It stays 2-2. But at this point now, when you look at the regular season results, you wonder if he's maybe a little too aggressive right now to opposing hitters.
Yeah, it's interesting because the strikeouts are down for Martin Perez. He's got 2 tonight, 5 on the season combined in his 3 starts. Just have 3 walks tonight, but those all came in the second inning. And listen, it's great advice, of course. The more strikes, the better. But when you watch Bartolo Colon, when he is on the way he was last night, the command is pinpoint. I mean, pitchers that have been around and know this game, know good pitching, watch Bartolo Colon when he's like that, and they're in awe of what he is doing. The way that he can paint the outside and stays out of the middle of the plate. And then the other part of it is the great movement. So Bartolo Colon, as a right-handed pitcher, was dotting that outside corner to righties. That fastball that starts off the plate, comes back and just catches the corner. And Martin Perez has got some good life on his fastball, but he doesn't have the movement that Bartolo does. There's not too many guys that I can think of that have that kind of movement on their fastball.
Strike 3 called. Refsnyder down looking. That's now a season high 3 strikeouts for Perez.
So when you think about the movement, well, watch this one. This is going to be a 4-seam fastball inside to Refsnyder. Good job by Robinson Chirinos to stick that on the inside corner. It's pretty close. See the quiet movement there from Robinson with the glove. When you think about when you have that kind of movement, the way that Bartolo, you're also going to get away with some mistakes. Even though his velocity is, he's averaging, I think, 89 miles an hour last night with his fastball. Sometimes it's less than that. But you can get a break when you have really good late movement.
Inside 1-1 to Johnny Field. Field 0 for 1 with a walk. He struck out in the 3rd inning. 1-2 the count. We just got an update on Jurickson Profar. Sounds like a concussion protocol.
Yep, they're going to reevaluate him tomorrow. They said he hit his head when he came down. Right side of his head, so he'll have to go through that. And certainly baseball has done a nice job of taking that, not that they were never taking it seriously, but really giving it the attention that it deserves. Setting up that concussion protocol, having, of course, the 7-day DL. For guys that go through a concussion.
Strike 3 called. Back-to-back strikeouts for Martin Perez. And he puts an end to the 4th inning, but the Rays lead by 7. to this one. And so we turn our attention to something else. Smash Mouth is coming to the ballpark. Post-game concert this Saturday, presented by Budweiser. That's a 7:05 game, Mariners and Rangers. And then afterward, the concert by Smash Mouth. Go to TexasRangers.com/concerts for tickets and information on field passes. Do you have any other albums?
Well, this day and age, you don't really own albums anymore.
Well, I mean, you know.
Do I have any of their music digitally?
What was the last CD you bought?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
It was a long time ago.
It was. I still have them in my basement. I did a basement clean out this winter and was going through some stuff. I still have a big collection of CDs.
But I think I might have a Smash Mouth CD or two.
Oh, really? I don't think I have the CD. I think it was a digital download for me.
Top of the 5th inning.
What about here? More importantly, what was the first album you ever had? Because the last one's a little bit harder to remember. Last CD you bought. You know the first one you ever had, right? You
1 and 2. That's
Just say it. It was the Bee Gees. I know. Was it?
No.
Close.
No. My brother and I we got the single of Celebration. Right? Celebrate. The one we Cool in the Gang. You know, we played after every single win in every ballpark or arena. Smashed down to third, and a great defensive play by Robertson. Bailout Snell right there, and retired Chirinos one away.
A good inning here for Robertson. Home run, and now this great defensive play. He started the inning at second base. And it looked like that ball almost caught the bag or came really close. So he does a great job of making the play. You see the feet moving before the pitch. Don't want to be flat-footed. Makes a pretty good throw. A little high, but a nice job by Crone to come up and then back down before Robinson Chirinos can get there.
Robinson's made a couple of nice plays over at third tonight on a night where he was in the lineup at second base, but was playing third base by the second inning. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa fouls this one away. It's 1-1.
So my first, I know you were curious, was actually a cassette tape. Not surprising.
What? You didn't do wax? You didn't have any vinyl?
I had some vinyl, but the first thing I had was a cassette tape. I had my first cassette tape before I had my first record. The Police, Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's probably the first for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
1-2. So we just bought the single, but the first actual album that we had, and again, certainly big vinyl.
Yep.
It's awesome. Billy Joel, Glass Houses.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Snell's 2-2. And it's full count. Then was Sticks.
Nice.
And then I don't know. I think we might have gotten out of the record business at that point. 3-2 from Snell, and that fastball right in there for a strike on Kiner-Falefa. He struck him out twice looking tonight, and in both cases, Kiner-Falefa knew it.
This is a good fastball from Blake Snell. This guy throws hard. You're going to see 95 miles per hour here. And for Isaiah, he saw it on the corner, but that ball just jumped on him a little bit. And it does. Good four-seam fastball with good rotation.
Well, 2 away here. Carlos Tocci 0 for 1. He flat out to right field. And he takes low.
So we were talking about him a little bit earlier, and Jeff Bannister mentioned before the game that they really want to see Carlos Tocci, give him an extended look in center field, see what he can do, give him those consistent at-bats. Not that he was ever really known for his offense. I mean, he was on this team because of his defense, but Delano DeShields going down, he may see a little bit of playing time. Get some more of those at-bats.
Tocci skies that one to right field. Carlos Gomez has been fairly busy out there. The inning is done. We're halfway there tonight. This one all Rays. Budweiser, a legendary lager for legendary moments. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. And by Buick. Visit your local Buick dealer today. Well, all set to go here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Jesse Chavez is taken over for the Rangers. And misses outside with the ball.
A good peek at the arsenal here for Jesse Chavez. He uses them all. Fastball is both a 4 to 2 seam fastball, cutter, slider, changeup, and curve. Jesse has been in that long man role. He's had 5 days off. He did not pitch in the Houston series. Of course, everybody had the 12th off, the Thursday before the Houston series. He last pitched against the Angels back on April 10th through 3 innings and 55 pitches.
1-2. Count on Mallex Smith. And a real good evening for Smith today at the plate. Had the bunt single, then the double. Been involved in a lot of the interesting plays in this game, and puts this one sharply down to Beltre. Can't handle it. And Smith is on. That is a base hit.
This ball was well struck. Adrian Beltre would have had to make a pretty great play to get that cleanly. That's why that is ruled a hit. 3rd one of the night for Alex Smith, and that high batting average that he came in with continues to climb.
Those corner infield jobs can be difficult, but it's plays like that that remind us why it is called the hot corner. You do not have time to react down there.
Especially on this turf. And regardless of the changes that they make and the developments in these synthetic field surfaces, that ball is still going to skip and be fast. Think about, was it just Toronto and here the last 2?
I believe so, yeah.
That's it, right?
So Joey Wendell came on after the injury to Duffy. Duffy had started the game but left in the bottom of the 1st inning with right hamstring tightness and is listed as day-to-day. Shortly after that, Jurickson Profar was taken out of the game after he fell and knocked the side of his head on the dirt near second base, and he is being observed currently under concussion protocol by Major League Baseball, and we'll find out more tomorrow. See if he is required to take some days off or be placed on that shorter 7-day disabled list that is now available for concussions. May not need to happen. 2-2. That one sails a little bit on Chavez.
Take one more look at this play. You're going to see Mallex Smith go down, and I just wonder for Jurickson, since Mallex Smith was so far away, if he just assumed, he thought maybe he was going to peel off or not slide. I'm not exactly sure. And we also concluded that the throw was wide and it was an error on Profar, and the slide had nothing to do with it. The throw came well before there was any contact. So really strange play, and certainly discouraging for Jurickson. And I just wonder if he was surprised that the slide still happened. I mean, at that point, Mallex Smith, of course, has to slide. You don't want to get hit with the throw. You're not going to peel off at that point. He certainly didn't do anything wrong. At least I don't think he did.
I don't think anybody's going to take issue with that slide.
No. It's just unusual. And as we mentioned, 2 now here for Jurickson Profar, the one that he had with Andrelton Simmons. It just seemed like he didn't get out of the way. Go back and think about a couple of years ago. Remember when Jung Ho Kang?
Yeah.
And that whole collision. And there's the whole deal. A lot of middle infielders come over from Asia because they don't have contact at second base. And so there's a lot of assumptions made that the middle infielder or the base runner is not going to slide into you. And there's been injuries. He got hurt really bad Nishioka, who played a year with the Minnesota Twins, who was a Japanese MVP, middle infielder, came over. Nick Swisher broke his leg on a very standard ground ball just because double play because he didn't get out of the way, and I think he was surprised that there was contact. And so it's interesting to see Jurgensen on both of those plays almost get a little bit thrown off that the base runner was sliding in those spots when the onus really is on the defender to jump, move out of the way, whatever it's going to be, because that runner is going to slide.
Chavez has given up the infield hit, walked Joey Wendell, but ahead of Echeverria here, 1-2. Echeverria 1 for 3. He did reach on an error in the third inning. That was the ball that he hit pretty sharply to short, but Drew Robinson was right there and it just went off his glove. 2-2. High in the air, right field, slicing foul. Long run for Mazzara, but he cannot get to it. Chavez has pitched at least 2 innings in every appearance this year. He is the only pitcher in Major League Baseball with 4 relief outings in excess of 2 innings. So clearly the expectation would be that he would take this game, let's say, into the 7th or so.
That certainly would be helpful for Jeff Bannister, and that really is Jesse Chavez's role. Multiple innings, that is what they were planning on doing with him. And you think about the bullpen, which has been throwing really well and certainly hasn't been overworked, but the guy's getting consistent work. And so the idea of Jesse taking this thing deep so that Jeff Bannister does not have to use too many arms certainly would be appreciated. Alex Claudio threw last night. Matt Bush had 1 day off. He threw 2 days ago. Chris Martin has thrown 2 out of the last 3. Keone Kela has thrown the last 2. Jake Diekman threw 24 pitches last night. Kevin Jepsen is well rested, a couple of days. Tony Barnett threw 2 innings 2 days ago. There's been a lot of work for those guys down there.
This one shot down the right side, foul again. You see what Echeverria is trying to do here.
Well, he's done a good job of fighting off some tough pitches from Jesse Chavez away. And when you have these kind of at-bats and you work and you get yourself those foul balls, you're hoping that you can get that pitcher to make a mistake. I mean, drilling that outside corner, outer third of the plate consistently can get a little bit difficult over time as the at-bat gets deeper and deeper. And Echeverria is trying to work himself into a mistake over the plate.
Fights off another one.
Go here, and there is a lot of pitches there on our Fox tracks.
Echeverria, native of Cuba, waiting for the 10th pitch of this at bat. And he swings and misses strike 3. So Chavez outlasts him. And there is one away here in the 5th inning.
That's a nice job there by Jesse Chavez. Take a look at this pitch here. After the long at bat and the difficult foul balls, I mentioned it, pitch number 10, will slider down and away. Echeverria had fouled off one that was in the strike zone earlier, so Jesse was able to get Echeverria to chase that one out of the zone. That's a nice job, tough battle.
Now Carlos Gomez. 2 runners out there, and Chavez will step away. Gomez 1 for 3, RBI single in the 2nd inning. And he is indeed going after the first pitch.
And aggressively, and that's why you see Jesse Chavez throwing a slider, which makes perfect sense. Well, again, when you know you have these kinds of hitters that are aggressive early. Carlos Gomez is incredibly aggressive, and we've seen it firsthand here with the Rangers how hard he can hit the baseball when he gets something to handle.
Holds off, 1-1.
It's pretty amazing. We mentioned their aggressiveness and what they have done. 45 home runs on the first pitch of an at-bat. That goes back to the beginning of 2017. That's the 4th best in baseball.
1-1. Bouncer could be 2. Robinson, a little flip to second. Kind of Falefa. It's high. And Gomez able to reach safely. So a fielder's choice. Wendell erased off the bases. They're on the corners here with 2 out.
Looked like this was going to be a tailor-made double play, a 3-hopper to Drew Robinson to throw it a little bit high there, and then for Isaiah kind of Falefa, a bit of a high throw as well. As this one sailed on him, but plenty of time to get that double play turned, and certainly something that the Rangers have been very good at so far this year. 19 double plays coming into tonight's game. That was the 2nd most in baseball.
2 gone for C.J. Cron. Now, when you say that, though, of course, I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone currently in the game, but I mean, you've been talking about Elvis Andrus and Rougned Odor up the middle, and that combination has been there day in, day out for these last couple of years. In the case of Elvis, since 2009. Bouncer to second base, and Kiner Falefa. Routine play to first. Inning is done. And for the first time tonight, a goose egg for the Rays. We're inside that big bubble. It's 8-1. Thanks, Dana. So the Yankees, they came in 7-7 to play today. They were 5.5 back of Boston in the AL East. Red Sox off to their best ever start, 13-2 coming into play today. Here we go to the 6th inning, and Blake Snell.
Aaron Judge batting average up to 357. I was wondering about him a little bit because we saw the ups and downs of Aaron Judge a year ago. Obviously he crushed it and had a really good year, but he went through a phase where he went ice cold. There's some concerns there. I was interested to see how the adjustments would be, and it certainly helps having Stanton hit behind you, but you still have to go out and hit. He's been off to a pretty nice start so far this year.
1-1. Chu kicks a breaking ball for strike 2. There are a lot of hitters who have been quote unquote ice cold, and it has nothing to do with their performance. the first couple weeks of this season. It has been brutal out there. So now we get a little extra shift on the infield for Chu. Wendell and Echeverria swapping spots with 2 strikes. What you see on the right side of the infield there, up the middle, that is now the second baseman, Wendell. Echeverria, the shortstop, is now the man out in short right field. They don't make that switch until they get to 2 strikes. Full count now on Chu.
Yeah, this is a team that is coming into this game, used the shift 164 times. That's the 5th most in the league right now. They have a pretty extensive analytics group here with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Swing and a miss, 2 strikes out. There is 1 away in this 6th inning. Snell now up to 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we have this conversation, it seems, a few times so far over the last few games. We start kind of looking a little bit at the opposing starting pitcher and what his career best is in regards to strikeouts in a game. For Blake Snell, that number is 13.
He did that against Baltimore last year. In fact, in September, rather October of last year, October 1st. Whereas this year, his high strikeout mark is 10. And he did that in Chicago against the White Sox on April 10th. That was his last start. 2-0 to Drew Robinson. So with all this cold weather, canceled games, and now they're trying to figure out how to schedule all these double headers.
Oh.
It's an absolute mess for a lot of teams.
At least more off days this year, right? 4 more
Yep.
off days added to the schedule, so maybe that
There
helps a
were
little
more
bit.
off
Yeah.
days.
I mean, it helps a little bit, not a ton. Obviously, you have to have teams that have their off days that match up together.
This one out towards center field. Coming in for it is Malik Smith, but he got handcuffed by it. And Robinson is on. He's going to go as a base hit.
Well, good to see Drew Robinson get himself on base. It has been a struggle a little bit here for him lately. Some strikeouts racking up, and he's made a couple errors in the field at short and in center. And so we've seen some frustration, I think, on the face of Drew Robinson, but this base hit could just be the kind of thing that gets him going.
So man on for Nomar Mazara, who is 1 for 2. Nomar just holds off on ball 1. Jim Cott,
Kitty.
long time. What's that? Yeah,
Kitty.
One of the all-time greats. Made a suggestion today with all the postponements and whatnot, that what Major League Baseball needs to do now is put together, what do you call it, a baseball jamboree or something like that.
That's what he said, yep.
Baseball jamboree, and get all the teams together, play 4 or 5 games a day, almost like a state tournament kind of thing in basketball. So get everybody in Milwaukee or somewhere with a dome and just play a ton of games. I think that's like a really fun and great idea.
Be great. Trying to plan it might be a little bit tricky, but you're absolutely right. If there were multiple teams that have to play each other, find a nice warm weather city, take the kids on vacation for the weekend, go watch your team play, maybe some others in a different city. Yeah, that would be a blast. No two ways about it. Organizing it sounds like a huge nightmare.
One out here.
Oh, but here was the problem with what I didn't love about Jim Cott's idea.
Chopper second. Sorry. Echeverria on to first. That's a double play.
He wanted to do it in Milwaukee.
His idea,
Yeah. That's where I'm out. I'm going to San Diego, baby.
8-1 Rays.
T-Mobile, and it's going to be Wilson Ramos, who has had a good night here for the Tampa Bay Rays. A RBI base hit in the first inning, and then in the second, another RBI base hit. He went to right field, he went up to center. He's had a couple of good at-bats here so far against the Rangers. He's going to be in here to lead off the 6th inning against Jesse Chavez.
Chavez's second inning of work. 8-1. You had Ramos, Robertson, and Refsnyder. And this ball belted out to center field. Tochi is back, and that one against the wall with Tochi, and rolling out there with nobody home. Mazzara finally gets to it, hustles it back in, but Ramos with a leadoff double. Tochi looked real good walking that one off.
It certainly does not. Looks like he almost is trying to masquerade it a little bit. But you see him limping there as he goes back. Here's a good look at the ball. We'll see Tochi come in and reach up, and he had his head down at that point because he was trying to brace himself for the wall. See him get up here. Omar Mazzara saves the day. Luckily, Wilson Ramos was running. Otherwise, that could have been triple for anybody else.
Slow chopper third. Beltre charges. One away. Robertson sent back to the dugout. Now, take somebody like Malik Smith in that spot. It's a triple, and who knows what else. Well, again, you look at Tochi. I mean, he's going to be fine. He'll no doubt do his best to finish this game, but he is not loving things right now. Refsnyder 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, and he takes a strike from Chavez.
So the Rangers only carrying 3 on their bench right now. It's been an 8-man bullpen for them. The Rays are actually doing the same. So that leaves Juan Centeno and Ronald Guzman left on the bench after Drew Robinson had to come in for Jurickson Profar. Some options there. Of course, Guzman, a first baseman. You can put Joey Gallo in the outfield if you need to. I guess the question would be, if that were to happen, who's playing center field? Nomar or Nunez? Or Joey Gallo?
If it's all the same, I just prefer we stop this hypothetical.
Yeah. Juan Centeno? First base for the backup, or center field for the backup catcher. I think we'd probably see Nomar. I think.
Maybe.
I mean, they go through these scenarios. They have them all. They know they're not going to get caught off guard. Preparation is thorough here. Well, now.
They're not going with Bartolo.
I mentioned Juan Centeno, but I think there's a lot of people that would love to see that man right there in the middle.
You think there are a lot of people who want Bartolo to play center field?
I mean, you saw what happened when he hit that home run a few years ago in San Diego. The world is on fire. Social media world especially. So there's a lot of people that get excited when a position player comes in to pitch, and it'll actually make the rounds on social media.
Sure.
Position player pitching alert. Bartolo Colon playing any defensive position. Social media might have to shut down.
Swing and a miss, and Refsnyder strikes out swinging for the second out of the inning. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and just nominate myself as the voice of the people.
All right.
And the people say, we really just want to see Bartolo keep pitching.
Well, this is true.
I don't want to.
No doubt. Ranger fans especially.
Here's Johnny Field.
Which, by the way, as much as pitchers love to pretend that they're big league hitters when they get those opportunities to step in the box, this is also a little bit of a pitcher's dream. You don't want any of your teammates to get hurt, but if for some reason a pitcher had to come in and play a defensive position, and it has happened before, who would be your guy? Who is your outfielder on this pitching staff right now? Would it be a reliever? I mean, Matt Bush is probably the most athletic of the group, obviously. He's a former shortstop.
Good point, right.
#1 overall draft pick as a shortstop. No shortage.
No, I'm with you. I mean, Diekman seems like a guy who will be able to handle it. High pop-up, right side of the infield. And that will end the inning. Another 0 posted on the scoreboard. Good job by Jesse Chavez. When we come back, the senior of this club, Adrian Beltre, to lead it off.
Rangers by a score of 8-1, and it is now time for our TXU power player to watch. And that power player is going to be Adrian Beltre. Check this out, what he has done in his last 11 games here at the Trop. Absolutely crushing it. .386 batting average, 3 home runs, the 7 RBIs, and that OPS up over 1,000. And that includes the 3 games, of course, that the Rangers played against the Astros here at the Trop last year. So Adrian certainly comfortable in this ballpark, as are a lot of hitters. I mentioned it before, always a good ballpark to hit in. Good home run ballpark. Turf certainly helps with some of those base hits.
Beltre in the cleanup spot tonight. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Snell has pitched quite well. Tall left-hander, and Beltre lines this one out to right field. That's a base hit. So Adrian on to start the 7th.
Let's get to our Southwest Airlines player breakdown, and we're going to take you back to the 4th inning when Joey Gallo got a hold of a Blake Snell fastball and hammered it to center field. 430 feet. Ball hit the, what's it, the D ring? The catwalk?
D ring, yes, the lowest out there.
But still pretty impressive. The first one of the season to go into the D ring. It kind of has like a Pentagon feel to it. Don't they have the different rings of the Pentagon?
They do. But yeah.
It's the same, right?
Almost. Gallo takes low for a ball. Here we see the defensive shift once again by the Rays.
By the way, I forgot to mention, that was the first home run that Blake Snell has ever allowed to a left-handed hitter here in his brief career.
On the edge for a strike, 1-1, yeah.
This is start number 47 for him. He's got 233 innings coming into this one. You see Joey Gallo with his 23 road home runs, 5th best in baseball going back to the beginning of last year. Snell is a guy who has dominated lefties. This year they were hitting just .077 against him. And there's 2 strikes now. I will tell you, after Joey, hits the home run, playing with house money here a little bit, I think with his at bat against a really tough lefty who's good against lefties, that might be the time that I would maybe practice upon. If it's going to be part of his game, if
Really?
it's something he wants to do. You know, they need base runners right now, down by 7 in the 7th inning. Got a really tough lefty. You've already taken him deep once. It's going to be tough to square up in consecutive at-bats. Now, the only thing was there was an at-bat that Joey had against the Astros in which he thought about bunting on the first pitch, and he pulled it back, and the ball was right at the bottom of the zone, called a strike. He was frustrated by it, right? He ended up pulling it back, and he struck out on 3 pitches. And he got pitched pretty tough in that at-bat, but you could see the frustration, too. I think he got a little flustered or frustrated after the bunt, and I get it. I would be, too, if I was him. But for me, this would be one of those times, not too late now with 2 strikes, what I would have thought about practicing it.
Full count. So trying to get him to chase, but much more patient. Gallo trying to lure Snell back into the strike zone. So Chi-Wei Hu warming up in the bullpen now. Three-two. Off into the bat.
Oh.
Just foul.
Thought we were going to see some of that side spin possibly. Might have been a triple.
Yeah, that
was fair.
That had great potential.
Watch it. A lot of times when you get those balls off the end of the bat, that's why Joey came out of the box. You get a little bit of that sideways spin, kick back the other way, but that one didn't. Joey's looking at where that ball hit, making sure that bat is still intact.
Need to put more chalk on the end of that cue stick.
Play the Massey next time.
3-2. That one lifted high in the air out there to left field. Waiting for it is Field. One away. Beltre stays put. And it looks like that may be it for Blake Snell. Cash heading out there, yeah, indeed. And he takes the baseball. So Snell will get a nice round of applause. And who is coming in? We'll be back in a moment. Protect their 7-run lead here in the 7th inning. And Grammy Award-winning Tejano group Signo will be performing a post-game concert this Sunday. Watch the Mariners and Rangers, a 2:05 first pitch. Then enjoy the concert after the game. Go to texasrangers.com/concerts for game tickets and information on how you can see Signo concert from the field. All right. Hu now in the game. Chi-Wei Hu, his 7th appearance. First pitch, Nunez lifts it high in the air, out to center field, got under it just a bit. Alex Smith tucks it away.
This is whose first action, big league level here for the Tampa Bay Rays. He pitched a couple of games in AAA. He's a starter down there, 9 innings worth of work. He did allow 6 runs, but 12 strikeouts to 3 walks in those 9 innings.
So 2 gone. He's been pretty efficient so far. One pitch, the 1 out, and then a big swing and a miss here by Chirino. So Snell has done 6 1/3 tonight, 9 strikeouts. Pretty good line right there.
And did a good job. He's responsible for Adrian Beltre at first base. But the big one for the Rays, and probably the part that they're most excited about, is the fact that he had 0 walks to those 9 strikeouts. Command has been an issue. I told you he came into tonight's game 6/9 walk rate. 10 walks in 15 innings.
Chirinos with a pretty strong disagreement right there with Mike Estabrook. A whole 0-2.
This was the 47th start for Blake Snell. Just the 4th time he has had 0 walks in a start.
Chirinos hooks this one out to left field, and that will end the inning. Yeah, for a guy who's had a lot of trouble, being a little erratic in the zone, he was sharp tonight. Rays lead at 8-1.
Refreshing finish, and it was Jake Diekman last night finishing off the Astros. He did an excellent job serving in the closer role, as throwing that good fastball. A couple of guys, you see Jake Marisnick certainly not happy, but a nice night for Jake Diekman. Big win, big series win. This is what the Rangers bullpen has did do in that series against the Houston Astros. Did not allow an earned run. 9.6 strikeouts per 9. 0 of their inherited runners scored. It's a good run for the Rangers bullpen. It does appear that Jake Diekman has ripped that can in half with his bare hands. Jesse Chavez continues the good work for the Rangers bullpen.
Well, 2 scoreless under his belt tonight, and Malik Smith waves at the first pitch here in the 7th.
Now you see that swing, and you know Malik Smith has had a good night so far. And you're thinking, man, this guy must have some pop, huh? 5 career home runs in 166 games. So the answer to that is no. Good hitter. Put together some good offense. But you would not necessarily see him do the Beltray, or expect to see him do the Beltray genuflect swing.
Well, he's put himself in a little bit of a hole here. And 1-2 the count. So once again, Chavez extending his streak this year. Chavez, the only pitcher in baseball with 4 outings of 2 or more innings in relief. Base hit by Smith. He's 4 for 4 tonight. The 9th place hitter's had a big night. As we turn the lineup over, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Dana Larson. All right, thanks, Dana. Joey Wendell takes a strike.
Second 4-hit game of the season for Malik Smith. 3rd time he's done it in his career. He did it against the White Sox back on April 9th. He did it last year against the Cubs.
No balls, 2 strikes on Wendell. 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. Not in the lineup initially. A couple of injuries early, 1 for each side in the game tonight. And so Wendell found his way in the lineup late. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Got a piece of that one. Yes, he did.
Take a look at this pitch from Jesse Chavez. You see there on Fox Tracks, below the zone. Good job getting Wendell to chase. Good block there by Robinson Chirinos.
Oh, 2.
Jesse get that ground ball from Carlos Gomez. Almost turned into a double play, but he's got a couple of ground balls here. 3 in his 2+ innings worth of work. And he's not really a ground ball type of pitcher. Jesse Chavez a little bit more a fly ball pitcher this year, that rate 39%, but there's another ground ball.
And Kiner Falefa turns 2 by himself. And a nice pick me up right there for Jesse Chavez.
Yeah, nice job right here. And certainly Jesse Chavez making a big pitch in a big situation. It's that ground ball. Luckily he didn't touch that. We talk about that a lot. Jesse went after that ball, but probably better off that he didn't get a glove on it, didn't slow it down, didn't deflect it. Kind of Falefa thought better to take that himself. Get that in between one where the shortstop standing there. Do you flip it to him? He made the right choice and got that double play turned. It's been fun to watch his first week in the big leagues. Both him and Ronald Guzman, and he's doing some fun things so far.
High fly, center field, and that is a quiet bottom of the 7th inning. 3 scoreless for Jesse Chavez. It's 8-1. fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, a beautiful scene here in St. Petersburg, Florida. 8-1, though, not beautiful as we come back indoors. Who out on the mound as we move this thing to the 8th inning. Rangers running out of time in a hurry tonight. 1 run on 5 hits. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And he takes strike 1. This one golfed out toward right center field, but Malik Smith can cover some ground. And he gets to it for out number 1.
You know, you can watch every Adam Market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Make sure you visit MLB.tv for details.
All right. We'll do that.
Do it.
Tocci takes a strike. Tocci 0 for 2. His first 2 times up is he sent it out to Gomez in right field. And he takes strike 2 from who? Winning on deck is Chu.
Oh. So you want to be a play-by-play man.
Here's the pitch. And that one out to left field. And a diving effort by Field will take one away from Tocci. Nicely done. 2 away.
Tough break for Tocci. Looked like a hit off the bat. Unfortunately, Field makes a really nice play. Take a look at this here. Good line drive. You're just thinking that ball off the bat. For Tocci, he's thinking get down, knowing that Field might have had a chance, and he made a really good play. And gives him a little bit of applause.
So 2 away. And Chu off the handle, bloops it over short, drops in, base hit. So Chu in the hit column tonight. All right, tomorrow's pitching probables brought to you by Ford. And interesting, Matt Moore will go for the Rangers. Well, the pregame starting at 5:30 Central Time. And the probables for the Rays, well, just check their bullpen.
Yep.
It's whomever is really most ready to pitch tomorrow.
That's how they have been running this, a little bit of an experiment that they're doing, at least to start the season. Now, part of it had to do with the fact that they had a lot of off days, and they weren't going to need a 5th starter nearly as much early on. And then you had the fact that they've kind of looked in and dug in the information a little bit and looked at 5th starters and results that 5th starters have gotten. And they feel like they may be able to use their bullpen on those days more efficiently than just having a 5th starter. So it's an interesting experiment. I don't think one that could last a whole year. I think they would tell you that too. But it is something they're trying out here. And so it puts you in that weird spot as an opposing team as you're prepping. What's going to happen? I thought you asked Banny a really interesting question, and one that I put a lot of thought into. But if you know it's going to be a bullpen day, essentially is what we call those, and they're just going to throw the bullpen at you, what do you do when you're playing matchups? Certainly Jeff Bannister has the lineups that he likes to set based on whether it's a lefty or a righty starter. We've talked about it with Nunez. He'll start against lefties. He probably won't start against righties. Ronald Guzman and Joey Gallo will be in the lineup those days. With Joey going to left field. So what do you do? You know, so they have, you look at their bullpen, they have 1 lefty in their bullpen. Alvardo's probably not going to start. So you know they're going to start a righty, but at the same time, how long is it going to be in there? 2 innings? Depending on who they use, 3 max. So is it worth it to try to play your righty, lefty, or just go ahead and put your best 9 out there?
Off the plate, that's ball 4. And Drew Robinson draws a 2-out walk, so a couple of base runners here. Now there's the rotation the Rays have been going with, more or less. Archer, Faria, Snell. But then you've got Chirinos, who's been used out of the bullpen as well as made 3 starts. Kittredge, a couple of starts, 3 relief appearances. So mixing and matching a little bit. And I do think that this is a little foreshadowing into the direction we may see a lot of teams go.
Could be. Could be. It's certainly worth keeping an eye on. I don't dismiss it right away.
This ball hammered foul, way out of play.
But talking to some Rays people today, people around the team talking about how they have had a lot of off days. They have been, you know, using their bullpen a lot, and the bullpen is kind of spent a little bit. That probably should not be the scenario when you've had as many off days as they have had. So trying to figure this thing out and make it work. Certainly there's going to be some trial and error. Some things that you didn't expect to come up that affected this kind of experiment.
Mazzara hits this ball well, deep out to right field, and that is gone. A no-doubter for Nomar Mazzara, a 3-run homer. And it gets the Rangers a bit closer. It's an 8-4 ball game.
Well, Nomar took a really good swing on the first pitch, and it was a foul ball, and he repeats it again. Another nice, smooth swing, short to the ball, squares that one up, drills it. This one carried nearly over all the bleachers. Here it is at full speed, a little two-seam fastball that Nomar was all over. And the changeup came in at 88. So when you look at a guy like who throws around 92, that's what we've seen from his fastball. Could have been a two-seamer or just a really firm changeup. Regardless of what it was fading away a little bit from Nomar Mazzara, and he was all over it. So as the Rangers try to make it 9 blown saves for the Tampa Bay Rays, so they already lead baseball with 8. Got some work to do here so far, but Nomar Mazzara's home run certainly a big help.
Yep, and that's a number right there that gives you a little hope. Certainly this is a team that has just struggled enormously in the first couple of weeks. 3 wins, 12 losses for the Rays. And part of that has been the ineffectiveness of the bullpen. Who with 2 outs in this 8th inning. Base hit, walk, and then the home run. Now Adrian Beltre, look out. It's ball 1. 8-4. Beltre with a base hit last inning. That was against Snell. He takes a strike here. So I was looking at the Rays schedule. You see the shift that they employ for Adrian Beltre. Since he will pull the ball.
I'm really flustered that teams do that surprise. We've seen him hit the ball to right field a ton this year. I don't get it. Yeah, what do you have on the schedule?
8 off days for the Rays. 8 off days in their first 35 games. So that's part of why you'd go with a shorter rotation. You know you can manipulate it a little bit, get a little extra rest. 1-2. And this one popped up right side. C.J. Cron appears to have room. And that will end the inning.
Well, not before Nomar Mazzara gets himself on the board. Home run number 2, RBIs number 3, 4, and 5 to bring the Rangers within 4. Friday, April 20th, a big day. You can get yourself the Adrian Beltre 3000 hit mini bat, courtesy of Falcon Tires. First 15,000 fans to the ballpark get to take home the bat and relive this historic moment. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com.
Well, bottom of the 8th inning, and Chavez induces a fly ball out to short right field. Mazzara right there. One away. Here is C.J. Cron. Cron has homered 2 for 4 tonight. We came into this series expecting to see a Rays offense that really struggles to score runs. And they like to hit home runs. That was part of the plan last year. They sort of were hoping to see guys maybe take some big cuts this year. You look at the numbers for so many of these guys coming in, and you think it's going to be hard to sustain long innings. You know, multiple hits to chip away and score a handful of runs, but that's exactly what they have done tonight. They did most of it against Martin Perez, who just did not have it. Ball and 2 strikes on C.J. Cron.
3 starts now for Martin Perez. 10 hits, 9 hits, and 10 hits allowed.
Yeah, more pressure on the bullpen again too, because it's another start for the Rangers where the starter goes 4 innings. Chavez, fortunately, now in his 4th inning of work, has really picked up the slack tonight. Stays 2-2.
He's done an excellent job, and there's a lot of value in this. And you say, well, you know, the game is out of hand. How much does it really matter? Well, it's the ability to keep the rest of your bullpen intact. I mentioned that Jesse had a few days off since his last outing, 5 days actually. And that was an outing in which he threw 3 innings and 55 pitches, and now you see him trying to get through 4 innings of work. It's just a huge help to the pen as far as keeping everybody else fresh. One of the toughest jobs to do in the game is to be that long man. You get a lot of time off. It's kind of a feast or famine situation.
Ooh, good pitch. Strike 3 called. And there is 2 away in the inning.
Good execution of a game plan by Jesse Chavez. Look how many pitches are away on the Fox tracks. The first one that C.J. Cron sees in is a painted fastball right on the corner for called strike 3. Excellent job. Remember, he struck out back in the 2nd inning, didn't like the call. It's a fastball up and in for Martin Perez.
There's a strike to Wilson Ramos.
Jesse Chavez could get through this and give the Rangers 4 innings of relief work. That'll be the 7th time that he has done that in his career as a reliever. This is his 289th game, excuse me, 88th game out of the pen. He once threw 5 2/3 in relief against the New York Yankees back in 2013. Had another 5-inning outing out of the bullpen in 2012 against the Rangers. That game that he pitched 5 2/3 went 18 innings. The Yankees and the A's. Jesse got the win. 5 2/3, 1 hit, 7 punch outs, no runs. One out
tell you what innings those were?
1 outing away from a quality start. He finished it off. So he must have came in and finished off the 13th, and then threw the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Gets back-to-back punch-outs to win the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rangers looking for some runs. Try and complete this comeback. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
They trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 4. They have certainly shown some thunder here once again. First it was Joey Gallo with this big home run to center field off of starter Blake Snell. The first homer he has allowed in his career to a left-handed hitter. And then Nomar Mazara off of who? Who? That's who? What do you mean off of who? 3-run shot. Multi-run home run. Certainly good to see for the Rangers, which has been a little bit of an issue. They hit 7 home runs against the Astros in that series. 6 of those were solos. They got 2 home runs here tonight. Solo shot from Gallo and that 3-run home run from Nomar Mazara.
Gallo start things off here in the 9th inning. You like all that who business, don't you?
Well, I was really disappointed in the Who-Chu matchup. You got let off the hook because he swung at the first pitch. Because I really wanted to listen to you call like a 9-pitch at bat between Who and Chu. That would have been tough. Like even as I just said it there twice, I had to slow myself down.
Yeah, and I was hoping that maybe there'd be a play over at first and we'd get a shot of Boo over there.
Steve Buechele.
Too bad Darvish doesn't pitch for the team anymore.
So check this out. I was watching Joey on deck. You know, of course, they got a lot of different weighted bats. That thing, he is swinging it like it's a wiffle ball bat. He is so strong. That is not light. That big weighted rod that they use down there.
It's like just a big piece of rebar or something
so,
from a
yeah.
construction site. 2-1. Ooh, caught the corner. Gallo. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. You work so hard in your at-bats and you see this pitch a ball the entire way. And it caught the back end there in the corner. We'll see, but looked like Fox Tracks had it in the zone.
2-2.
See Alex Colomé now in the bullpen. There's what he did a year ago. Led the league with his 47 saves. This year, a bit of a slower start.
Get him in there.
10.
What are they doing? 2-2. Gallo swings and misses. Big strikeout for Who. Right, so Rangers down to their final 2 outs. First, though, a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock only at southwestkia.com.
Renato Nunez now 0 for 3 in his first day as a Ranger. He is grounded out to third, struck out, flied out to center field. Right-handed with good power, and he takes strike 1.
So Nunez has played in 17 big league games. This is his 18th game. 2016 he played in 9, had 15 plate appearances. Last year 8, 16 plate appearances. Yet the Rays are shifting against him, which is absolutely amazing to me. Now the data is available at the minor league level. Of course they are acquiring that data, but I find it interesting that right-handed shifts, we've been talking about this a lot. We're seeing it more and more now. 3 infielders on the left side of the infield, and of course the Rays are a team that are right there near the top when it comes to shifting against right-handed hitters. Second in baseball.
Which we talk about as unique just because, let's say, I don't want to say arbitrarily, but really like 3 years ago, you might see a handful of shifts against a right-handed hitter.
Yep.
In the league over the course of a year. Now, you saw that right there. About 40% of the time, the Rays will shift against a right-handed hitter. The 1-2. And I guess that tells you that, you know, for a long time, left-handers very pull happy, but in today's game, launch angle, trying to hit home runs, etc. It's right-handed, it's everybody. They're just trying to yank as hard as they can, and apparently there's value in shifting even on right-handed batters. 2-2. That's a full count.
And this is a good opportunity for Nunez, right? Listening to what Jeff Bannister said before the game is that he's the guy that will probably get starts against left-handed pitching. Well, he gets to stay in the game Even though the Rangers have a couple of left-handed options right now off the bench in Centeno and Guzman, Benny's going to let him get an at-bat against the righty.
Hard ground ball, and that one is through into center field. Well, Nunez with a one-out hit. And so the Rangers have an important base runner on in this 9th inning. Or Robinson Chirinos.
Let's take a look at the swing here. Good job by Nunez. Get that base hit. I'm going to tell you something, man. You're going to think I'm crazy, and I probably am. So we compare so much in this game, right? Watch Nunez beat the shift. Good exit velocity. Somebody's going to hear this and say I'm an idiot. But watch that swing right there. First guy that came to mind for me.
Go ahead.
JD Martinez. JD Martinez was a guy who really didn't get it going until he was, what, 27 years old?
Right, yeah.
Nunez only 24. He's shown power at the minor league level. A little crazy, I know, but I'm just telling you. It was the finish of the swing that reminded me of JD Martinez.
Ooh, this ball belted out to center field. Smith back on the run, falls down, and somehow came up with a baseball. Whew. Look, he's very fast. Does a great job of covering ground, but boy, it can be a bit of an adventure sometimes.
So what had happened was, as he's trying to explain, now you know, and when you're a kid, of course you do this. Take a routine line out and turn it into a diving play in the outfield. But obviously this ball sunk on Smith a little bit, and it's a good recovery. I got it. Oh, wait, the guy still got it. You see the facial expression even after he caught it, as if to say, gosh darn it.
Now, Nunez takes off for second base. Nobody was holding him, so that'll be defensive indifference. Chirinos just missed that one. Kiner Falefa, and it's 0-2.
I think more importantly for Robinson Chirinos, a little bit of a slow start to the season. He's been very good in the last couple of games. He was really good in that Astros series. We've seen him hit now a couple of home runs, but really locked in, swinging a very good bat right now, even with the line out.
The 0-2, and he fights it off. Blake Snell went 6 1/3 for Tampa Bay. Now who trying to go 2 2/3 to finish it. Take him at the very least one more. Rangers would love to get a base runner on here and really make Kevin Cash think about how he wants to finish this thing off. He's had Colomé warming out of the pen. Be an accomplishment just to get him in this game. The 1-2. Strike 3 called on a borderline pitch. And this one is over, and the Rays take the opener from the Rangers by a score of 8-4. That's a tough one tonight, but Dana Larson, Mark McLemore, and Tom Grieve are going to have all the player reaction and breakdown for this one tonight. For CJ Nitkowski and John Radigan, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage of Rangers baseball continues right after this.